We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for other mints. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices, I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for Robin Bits. Hush now, city kids.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. Geordies here, Geordies there, with Stu, with Kev, with Al Walid, with Mitch and George. Good evening, lads. It is live. Yes, people asking in the chat, is it live? Sometimes we've got a pre-record, not tonight though. It is live. And Stu, I'm going to come to you and get your views on the win at the weekend against Burnley. You haven't had a chance to chat about that, have you? I get confused with all the shows that we do. I don't think you've had time to come on, have you? No.
I think we covered it on Professionals on Sunday. But
did you?
Yeah, we did.
Yes, you did. There we go then. Right, okay. So we'll move on. We don't need to do that with you. Thanks for keeping us right, Stu. We're all over the shop at the minute with you working, me working. We kind of get the shows on time, on the right days, etc. So forgive us for forgetting.
Steve, why don't you ask him what's the best thing about being a Newcastle fan?
What is the best thing about being a Newcastle fan, Stu, at the moment?
I'm surprised you can remember that one.
Can you bring in a wine, please? Right, okay. Well, we'll start with the Champions League news. Then that was going to be my next port of call, and I've just managed to catch up with Eddie Howe's press conference there. Quite amusing one, because the Champions League press conferences, if you haven't watched it yet, the journalists, obviously, there's less journalists, less of the English journalist, quite a few French in there. So there's a translator that you've got to cope with. And you've also got to cope with the fact that once a question is asked, the French interpreter has to ask the question. Then Eddie Howe gives the answer. Then the interpreter gives the answer in French. 14 minutes, which really condensed, worked out at about 6 minutes of info from Eddie Howe about this game. The crux of it certainly was interesting, though. I think we all know now that Callum Wilson and Joe Linton, who we didn't expect either to have any chance of playing on Wednesday night. We know Wilson probably won't make it, but he's close, which gives us high hopes for at least West Ham at the weekend. Joe Linton, there's also going to be a late call on him. Tonali, a lot of people were making a big fuss about Tonali, saying that he hadn't been training. Well, he's been away to France. He's back, but there's no issues with Tonali. He's available for tomorrow. And Sven Botman is definitely out. So that's your injury update. I gave it on a short a little bit earlier on. Was there anything else of interest? Well, Eddie Howe talked a lot about the crowd and how that was, was going to create a good atmosphere. That obviously that helps the team massively. And, the home games are where you've got to win and you've got to get your points on the board. Craig Hope said you kept a straight face when you said you wanted Mbappe to play. Well, he's here, he's fit. How do you keep him quiet? He said he wouldn't do a man-to-man marketing job on it tomorrow. He said it's all about teamwork. He said, we've got to win win our battles, and we've got to work well in the units. So, you know, that was really the message about Mbappe. We're not focused on one man, we're focused on the team. And yeah, again, very little you could ask because of the situation that you found yourself in. There wasn't any great in-depth questions, but Lee Ryder said, you know, how satisfied were you with a win against Burnley? You know, it's your bread and butter, that kind of thing. And he went, yeah, he says, I think the focus of the players has been excellent, regardless of the opponent. Yeah, very happy with that as well. And there was a question from a French journalist at the end, basically saying that, you know, do you think you might get too carried away with the support you've got from your fans, because PSG love playing in space, and getting in behind you? Do you think there's a risk of you getting carried away with the emotion of the occasion? And he just said, look, hopefully not. That's part of our challenge to deliver what we deliver. We have to be perfect in that respect, and going into this game especially. But he was delighted with the possession game that they had against Burnley. And if they do the same kind of thing against PSG, then who knows? So that was it. It was as simple as that. So the big occasion is upon us, Stu. You know, how excited are you?
Oh, I'm kidding excited. I'm really looking forward to it. And, you know, we talk about the injuries and stuff. I haven't had time to see the press conference because I just finished work a bit before, quick shower, then onto here. So I'll watch it afterwards. But, you know, if everyone was fit, I still think he would have went with Isak up front, and then Wilson would have started on Sunday against West Ham. He's got a good scoring record against West Ham. And I think Isak has got more chance of punishing Paris Saint-Germain's defence than what Wilson has, from the styles that they both have. And ditto for Wilson against West Ham. So that, to me, isn't too concerning. The fact that Isak's going to start, because if that's what he said, then it's quite clear Isak is starting, isn't it? So that to me is a good thing. We knew Botman was going to be out. We discussed, if you can remember, Steve, about Lascelles starting and playing on Sunday. And Joe Linton, yeah, he's going to be a miss. But the good thing is we're playing them this season, not last season. We do have stronger depth of squad. And there's some real good talent there. And you see it all the time. People talk in bars, they speak to each other, social media groups, WhatsApp groups, etc. And everyone's saying this person should be given a chance. This person, you can only play 11, and we really need to be trusting Eddie Howe. He'll have the best 11. Whilst I was out walking this morning before I went to work, I was listening to the lads last night on the I forget what it's called. Is it what you do?
Fans Forum.
Fans Forum. Yeah, I was going to call it something else there, but
we're both having senior moments, mate. Don't worry about it.
I know, but what I found bewildering was that some people were prioritising Sunday's game rather than tomorrow's game. You know, to me, Sunday's game is a league game, and the benefit of winning that means we can climb the table to get into the Champions League, to play games like tomorrow. You know, and that's what it's all about. We have to play for the here and now. And each game you've got, you should be playing your best team. And I've got no doubt that Eddie Howe will pick his strongest team, or the team he sees fit, with the people he's got available to do a job tomorrow night. And I still think we will beat them tomorrow. And this is going to be played on the global stage. It's not just the Champions League for Europe, as Mitch and me and Al Walid will vouch. The Champions League's huge in the MENA region. And I know it's very popular in the Far East as well. It is a global game. Ours is the biggest of the night. And there'll be so many people tuned in to watch us make our home debut back in the chapel, not home debut, but our home return after 20 years. And we've seen the Cellar things. We've seen snippets of what the flag displays are going to be like. You know, it's a huge, huge occasion. And there's so many fans who haven't seen this or can't remember it. You know, you've got to be at least, I would say, over 25, 26 to remember a Champions League game at St. James Park. And tomorrow's the first of hopefully many. And I think it was something that Ian said, you want to remember this game like you do the Barcelona game, like you do the Juventus game. Whether we win, lose, or draw against West Ham on Sunday, we'll get opportunities to do that twice a season. We've got PSG at home tomorrow, one of the stellar names of the European leagues. But for me, they're not up there with the Real Madrids, the Man Cities, the Bayern Munichs. They're just the next echelon down. And I think that makes them beatable. And with our fans tomorrow, I think we'll go for it. And I can't wait. I really can't wait.
Kev, it's the eve of the Champions League returning to St James's Park. You remember those heady days, back in the 90s, and I bumped into Keith Gillespie at the ground today, and he can't wait for the game. He's not going to be at St James's, unfortunately. He was doing a bit of PR and media work around the ground today for Sky, but amazing to think we're back in the Champions League at home. It's going to be some atmosphere, mate. I bet you're looking forward to catching it on the TV, but you'd rather be here, I think.
Oh, absolutely, mate. And like I said last night, I was at the Milan game away 2-2. I was at the final game when we won 3-2. I was at the Barcelona when Keith Gillespie destroyed Sergi down that right side for 90 minutes, and it was just, like Stu said, it's just memorable experiences. And so, like I said last night, it's basically go with an expectation to enjoy yourself. However, be that 12th man. Let the team do what they do, and you do your job as a fan base. Because I'm sure, I thought about it after the show last night. Luis Enrique was a part of that 3-2 team when we beat them 3-2. I'm sure he was, or very young Luis Enrique, where I think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder about that night. So you can see his team talk, what he expects, what he knows is going to be coming from Newcastle United. So. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's like a kid at Christmas. You just can't wait for it to happen again. And for those that are going, there's a bit of envy that you want to be there and stand and like literally lose your voice singing and doing whatever you can just to get the lads across the line. So again, I'm expecting a hopeful, positive performance because I think we can play on the front foot against them. Obviously, there's a tactical nature where you can't leave space, you can't do all of that sort of stuff. But at the same time, just go for it. Like Mitch has always said, we've got nothing to lose. Just go and have a good time playing a game of football, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, whatever happens. Whatever will be. Al Walid, exciting times for Newcastle fans, having the Champions League music playing at St James's Park and seeing undoubtedly one of the world's best players on the pitch in Mbappe.
We dreamed about this, Steve. A long time ago, we always talking about this, and for me, I can't believe that we achieved this level, this moment. It's really, it's really touching how we reached this moment now, and I'm very excited, looking for the game. I wish if I'm in Newcastle at the moment, and I expect Newcastle will do a lot. Tomorrow, Champions League it's major trophy, and for me, I think, and for a lot of fans, it's just right after the World Cup for national teams. It's really important champion, and I think tomorrow the whole world will clap for Newcastle, hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Big night, Mitch. Again, you won't be there tomorrow, but I know you'll be there in spirit. It's great, isn't it? It's the reward for last season.
Yeah, and like Stu says, the interest in the Champions League in this region is such that for last week we didn't have a massive turnout with the lads and lasses at the Dubai Mags. It looks like tomorrow night we could have quite a few. I think the first home game has whetted a lot of appetites and got a lot of people more interested and got everybody up for it. And it's exciting in lots of different ways. And it's an opportunity for us to really put on a show on and off the pitch if we can. And like Stu said, this isn't us last season playing. This is us this season. This is also not the PSG of late. They're a team in transition. They're a team that's had a little bit of upset on and off the pitch. They're not in great form, and they're there to be got at. And like I've said repeatedly, I'm damn sure every team in pots 1, 2, and 3 will look at pot 4, and in the back of their mind was not them. Don't want to draw them. Don't want to go there in a midweek. It's not. I find it interesting. French journalists asking questions about the crowd and the atmosphere and making it more difficult for us. that's a little bit of reflection. I think. I suspect that it's a crowd and a cauldron that they don't want to walk out in, and I think let's give them a taste of it and see where we'll go. We've got a good record at St James's against French teams, and we've got absolutely no to fear.
George,
yes,
we know you're not going. You're a man of your words. You've decided to stick to an arrangement, and I know you'll be there in spirit, like Mitch. Though,
well,
how important is this game in our season?
Oh, it's colossal in every sense, not just the season, but in terms of Newcastle United and the fans and the city and the owners. This is a game that Al Weed's got it right. This puts Newcastle United on the world stage, not just on the European stage, on the world stage, and I think that's very, very important indeed. As to why I'm not going, well, over 12 months ago, somebody asked me to do them a favour, and I'm not going to turn that down just simply because I want to go to a football match. That's not my style. But anyway, I think the word that you've all used quite a lot of is team. And the one thing we are is a team. The one thing they aren't, in my view, is a team. They're a collection of individuals who now and again can turn it on to get a result. But they don't play like a team in the way that we do. And that's massively in our favour, as is the fans' interaction with the team and what will happen. It's a huge game for everybody. Like I said last night, I'd go back to the Fairs Cup when all the national journalists were decrying her because we'd sneaked in the back door and how we would get hammered and made fools of. And I'm led to believe the manager used all of that in the dressing room and said, well, look, this lot think you're hopeless. And they just went for it and enjoyed it. Well, I hope this lot does that as well, because they've got the ability to enjoy it, this group of players with this manager that's brought them on. Who would have guessed that 2 years on after Bruce Ball that Lascelles and Dummett could play centre-back in the way they did the other day? It beggars belief that they're the same players. And I just think the fact that the depth of the squad, all the things that we know that they can do is enough to see us through. And I think towards the end of the game is when we are our strongest, because the French league's not as intense as the Premiership. And I reckon in the last 20 minutes, they'll be blown through their ears and would have a chance to get at them because they won't be conditioned the way our lads are. So I'm looking forward to a 2-0 win, I think I said last night, and I'm sticking by that. And great memories for everybody. But the word is, everybody said, enjoy it, for goodness sake, enjoy it. We hope it comes back another time, well, even next year, but enjoy it while it's here and make sure it works. The display last night with the drones, well, I was able to see quite a lot of it from my upstairs bedroom. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So well done, Salah, for what they did. It was remarkable. Absolutely. So, yes, looking forward to it. Really, really expecting something special from them. And I'm sure it will be. I've no doubt it will be.
Okay. Gary Milligan, George, says, I asked this question yesterday, I think, but I'll ask it again. Would you man mark Mbappe? Now, Eddie Howe's come out today and said he wouldn't. No, you wouldn't?
No. I think you're a hostage to fortune if you man mark and he makes the fool of the man mark very early on. You're far better playing the game that we normally play, where if he has a go against one of our fullbacks, you have whoever's on the field, if it was Joe Linton or whether it was any of the other lads backing up, Anderson or coming in afterwards. We've got the ability to cover each other and play how we normally play. Absolutely right. Don't play the game for one man. He can be great, but he can also be bloody awful. He goes in the hoof. You don't get anything out of him. Always dangerous, so you've got to watch him, but not man mark him. I think that's a waste of a defender.
Okay, would you agree, Mitch?
Yeah, you worry about your own game. You don't worry about the opposition's game. You worry about what you're what you're going to let them worry about. The other alternative is just kick him up the arse and see if he likes it. Because I bet he doesn't. Lay one on him. He's such a bloody prima donna. I think that the Jack Charlton school of defending would be my preferential route. But in all seriousness, worrying about an opposition player so much, you man mark them. It takes a great degree of skill to mark somebody like that out of the game altogether. And you're going to accept that if he is a top-class player on form, he's going to create chances and he's going to create stuff on his own, whether you've got somebody man-marking him or not. If the last fantastic man-marking display I remember was Aaron Hughes taking out Totti in 2 games against Roma, but Totti still scored the winning goal. That was the difference between the 2 teams over the 2 legs. And you could argue, were we so worried about snuffing him out, we didn't create any chances of our own. So I think that's the danger you run when you single somebody out with a man marking like that. I think I'm quite sure Eddie will have a plan for it. But I think we're the home team. It's our house. You come and play our game and see how they like it.
Okay, Al-Walid, are you going to buck the trend? Are you going to say we should mark Mbappe, or would you agree with George and Mitch? We shouldn't.
I would like to have a mix between zone defense and mark the player. I think Trippier can stop Mbappe for first half, but not the whole game. So a bit of mix of zone defense and marking the player, because Mbappe now he have all the pressure after Neymar and Messi left. So I think he's like 50% of the power of Paris Saint-Germain.
Okay, Kev, if you were picking the team here and going for the tactics, would you go man to man marking him?
No, I wouldn't. I would let him get the ball at his feet, but then I would have instant pressure on his first touch. Then I would double up on him. Whoever's around him at the time, and carry on what Mitch said, just get stuck into him early, because I don't think you'll fancy it on a wet Wednesday night at St James's Park. But I think Mbappe would want to be man-marked, because I think he could on his day, he could destroy anybody. So I think there's a bit of mind games going on, a bit of psychology from Eddie Howe. Are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? But in my opinion, I wouldn't man-mark him, because he could have an absolute worldie, and that's it. That's game over. Good night. So, I would just double up on him. Whoever's around him. Little kicks at the ankles here, little stand on the foot here, little pull on the shirts here, and just to frustrate. And that's what you got to do against world-class players, regardless who they are, because they don't like it, because they've never experienced that before. Well, I have, but in terms of how we can do it, I think we'll maybe just get one over him and he can just spit his dummy out and throw a tantrum in the middle of the park and all the rest of it. Yeah, so I wouldn't man mark him. I think, again, like George said, it's a waste of a player. And just keep our shape and, again, double up.
Clean sweep then, Stu. I presume you'd agree.
Yeah, I mean, let's not get away from it. He is, on his day, a world-class player, but is he world-class going to consistently do? No. So our job as a team is to nullify him. He will create chances, and if I don't think we have to be realistic. We're not going to stop all the chances he'll create, but we can at least limit them. Just the same as we do every Premier League game. Every Premier League team has star attractions, maybe not to the level of Mbappe, but to man mark, the only thing we should be marking is what Kev says, is his ankles. Get him a little clip early on, see how he fancies it, and maybe he will throw the towel in, or maybe it might motivate him to go greater things, then you just do it again. But my take on it, Steve, is that in the Premier League, we play a high-class opposition nearly every week. I know there's some in that league who really aren't. There's not the plumber, George.
Yeah, that's all right, Steve.
As long as you don't have a ghost coming down the stairs. Right, so we play top quality opposition most weeks. Premier League. I don't think the same could be said of PSG in the French league. You know, you talk about man marking them. Will they be man marking Gordon or Isaac? Probably not. So maybe at the end of the game, they'll be wishing that they should have man marked some of our star players as Bruno pulls the strings and we go on to win. But that's just my positive outlook. I think we can put too much attention on one player and forget the other 10 because they have to be of a decent standard to get picked for them. But that doesn't mean 10 or 11 good players are as good as one good team. And we know football is a team game, not an individual game. And I think we've proved time and time again, these lads will link arms and they will go forward as a team. And they don't know when they beat in the majority of games. And I think it was George alluded to earlier that the later the game goes, our fitness levels should be higher than theirs. And that could be critical. Even if we're behind, if the crowd stays with them, it could be more than enough to get us back in. So if you're saying that we are behind and we draw level, imagine the response in the crowd there when we're in the ascendancy, 10, 15 minutes to go. I think we'd wipe the floor of them. They would actually shit their pants.
Okay, halfway through the show, time for the ads. Don't forget to get your questions in by George. I've got a couple. Anybody else wants to ask one, we'll do it after the break. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website www.skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can order yours today by emailing info@mrvickies.co.uk or telephoning 01768 210 102. Or go to the website, mrvickies.co.uk. A big thanks as well to United Group Travel. They are a UK coach holiday firm based in Morpeth. For just £30 deposit, you can book a trip across the UK. There are no strangers on their buses, just friends you haven't met yet. They're taking bookings now for 2024 tours, and you can call them on 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174 or 07957 141 654. Big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the video side of things. And a big thanks as well to New Workwear. You can find them at newworkwear.com. Please subscribe to the channel. All you need to do is hit the subscribe button. It's free. Hit the thumb up under the video to like the video and click share to share to your other social media. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to help the channel financially, why not take out a one-off £25 membership? What do you get for your money? You get a scarf, you get a pen, you get a membership card, and a cup, and you get entry into the monthly draw. How do you do it? Go to NUFCmatters.com. If you've got a smartphone, put your smartphone over this QR code, and it will take you straight there. We also support the food bank on this channel. How do we do it? We do it virtually. NUFCfansfoodbank.co.uk is the website. If you want to make a virtual donation today, go to that website and you can top up what they collect at the food bank outside the ground. We always advertise events on this channel as well. If you've got an event to advertise which has got a Newcastle United theme, please let us know. An evening with Frank Clark and John Gibson takes place at the Irish Centre. Tickets are £15. NUFCmatters.com for your tickets. The Tyne Theatre and Opera House are holding an event with Keegan, Beardsley and Waddle, the class of 84, 25th of January 2024. And you can book now 0844 249 1000. That's 0844 249 1000. If you go to NUFCmatters.com as well, we've got a couple of raffles ongoing. The Alan Shearer signed ball raffle, £1 a ticket. And the Kieran Trippier picture, £1 a ticket for that as well. And once the tickets are sold, the draw will be done. We've also got some T-shirts, which you can buy. The latest one, the latest hot seller is this one, Geordies on tour. I've never seen a Mackem in Milan T-shirt with all of our Champions League fixtures on the back. Get yourself to NUFCmatters.com. Buy one today. And don't forget the Northeast Brekkie Show, 7 till 9, Monday to Friday on tuneradio.co.uk. You can also get us on DAB Radio, smart speakers, app, and online. Yeah, just a couple of pictures as well. I'm sure you've seen them on social media, but some of you may not have. That just a couple of the drone pics. There's the one of Trippier, the Trippier shirt, and there's the one of the Newcastle United badge. They did do it again last night, and a few people saying why can't they do it tomorrow? Well, the license for the drones only lasts until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So we got a couple of displays, which was fantastic, and well done to Salah for doing that. Created a bit of a buzz anyway. Okay, time to ask George. Okay, ask George. We got a few questions that have come in. Tom Dixon said, ask George, did you ever sing on the karaoke, George? And what was your favourite song?
Yes, in Bladen Races.
Yes, in Bladen Races. David Cook says, ask George, were you working in Naval Architecture Department 1980 to 1983? My best pal did that course at that time.
Yes, I was. I was there from first stepped in the Armstrong building at the university in 1957.
There we go. And Chipper says, ask George, sausage roll or corned beef pie?
Oh, that's a hard one. Corned beef pie, especially if it was made by my mother or my wife.
And ask George, what is the one main difference between the modern game and yesteryear's game? Says Blue Rhythm Boy. Great question.
Oh, the biggest difference for me is the players now are athletes. They're not just footballers, they're athletes. In days gone by, I always credit the man that introduced me to that was our very own Jackie Milburn. Jackie Milburn was a sprinter and trained with the professional sprinters. And so he brought training into St. James's Park that his mates had never seen. You have a look at the old cup final pictures in the dressing room. The only person that's got his shirt off and got a six-pack is Jackie Milburn. All the others have got their shirts on because you're not sure what they're going to see underneath there. No, seriously. And he for me, epitomised what happened to football. He turned himself into an athlete and as a result became what he was. And it's got even more and more like that. I mean, now we're into sports science and all that sort of thing. So the biggest thing for me is that the players now, if they're doing their job properly, they're athletes. They're not just football players, and that's a huge difference. And so the game's quicker. There's lots of more intensity, and I would suggest that that the stamina's better and all the rest of it. But I mean, there's lots of other things that annoy me greatly in the modern game. And one of them's this business about having to jump for it to head and have your arms in the air. What tripe? What utter tripe. Just an excuse for the Shearers of this world to break a few noses.
Classic. Okay, that is Ask George for tonight. Thanks for your questions. Okay, I missed this question last week on the professionals. The professional show I didn't even know I'd done. Question for the professionals show. Eddie Howe has said a couple of times this season in post-match interviews, press conferences, that he thinks we lack a bit of belief against top opposition. Do you think this is the case? And why do you think, given Eddie doesn't say too much publicly, that he's choosing to speak out publicly about it? Cheers in advance if you do answer it. Absolutely love the shows. Okay. Great stuff, Stu. That's a good question. And, I think it deserves a bigger panel anyway, that question. Just to give you a reminder. But, I mean, he says we lack a bit of belief against top opposition. That's something that's only going to come with winning those kind of games, isn't it? And we've just beaten Manchester City in the Carabao Cup. Maybe it'll turn.
Yeah, well, it's not just winning them; it's playing in them. The more you're playing them, the more you realise that you're up to that level. And this is how I believe they'll approach tomorrow. In fairness, they've earned the right over a full season to play in the Champions League. Just go out and play. They've proven themselves to be one of the best teams in the land, which by proxy makes them one of the best teams in Europe. And if it is a belief factor, I think the confidence is high on a roll, and it just needs one big game, one big result. And if that comes tomorrow, that really could cement us enough to do a job over Dortmund home and away and see off AC Milan at home. And then, we could even afford to lose away to PSG if necessary. If tomorrow could be crucial, if we win that tomorrow, then I think you've got the other side of the coin to the question: would that create too much expectancy when the belief is too high? You know, so it's up to the coaches and the players. But I think we answered this a couple of weeks back in a different way to a different question, obviously. But the players that we've signed have signed for this reason, to play in the Champions League. They all bought into the project. They all bought into how it was going to be done and the togetherness, and they're there now. You know, so really it's just their time to shine, and they shouldn't go out there in fear of any team. If they can go toe-to-toe with the likes of Liverpool and Man City, then they can go toe-to-toe with the likes of PSG and Milan. So it is a very good question, and if the belief is there, if the belief isn't there, it should be. And I think it would be quite easy just to show some highlights of some of what they've achieved over the last 18 months to 2 years, and say, this is why you're here now. This is why you're going on that pitch today. Go out and create another highlight reel in this one game, and I really think they will.
Okay, what's your view on that question, Kev? It is an interesting one, but yeah, I mean, lacking belief against top teams. I mean, I felt that. I've got to be honest. I felt that in the cup final. I know Eddie Howe didn't feel that in the cup final, but I felt once we went a goal down, we didn't believe we could get back into it.
I think it's a learning curve. Obviously, playing against Man United in a cup final was again the first one for however many years. Obviously, I think the occasion maybe got to them going down 1-0 at Wembley. Then you've got to get yourself back into the game. Then you have to become more expansive, and that leaves yourself a little bit more open. But I think it's, you know, execution from what the coaching staff want. We've moved on another level. Last year was, okay, we'll get it down, we'll play on the front foot, we'll attack, we'll play nice tiki-taka football on the top of the 18-yard box and score wonderful goals left and right and win majority of games. This year's a little different. Everybody's not, I wouldn't say found us out or we've been found out, but it's a more complex thing than that in terms of tactically, of what other teams are doing to us, and again down to the coaching staff and confidence of what they're telling players is to execute that plan and what's been put in place for them. And I think it's getting there. It's just in terms of gelling. Some injuries haven't helped in terms of the long staff, who we've said is like the glue within the midfield, and doing those hard yards, breaking play up. Joe Linton's injury hasn't helped, you know, and being that physical force in the central areas to again break the play up to move forward. Then we can play football. Defensively, we're solid. We're sound. We've got one of the best defensive records in the Premier League. We've scored the most goals. So again, it's not a fear factor or playing against the top teams. It's just learning again how to find a way to win and finding a way to execute the plan.
Yeah, Al-Walid, do you think we struggle against the top teams? Do you think there's a lack of self-belief, Al-Walid?
Well, we are, Stephen, we are improving every day, and now we are living a great moment for Newcastle. I think they prove to all of us in San Siro against Milan. And for me, as I am always, or most of the time, optimistic, I wasn't on Milan game, but they proved me wrong. So I believe we could win tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be a game changer for us in Champions League.
Mitch?
I think Eddie Howe's got a very interesting way with words sometimes, and I don't think he misspeaks often. So when he's talking about confidence, I'd be interested to see where he's going with that within the dressing room. Is that his way of getting a message across to the players about something they've already discussed? And so I get I get the distinct impression he doesn't make many slips of the tongue.
No.
Everything's mentioned very reasoned and specific ways. Maybe it's just a G up to the players that need a cuddle, because some do need a cuddle and some need a kick, and maybe that's his way of getting the message across to those that need to be treated in a more softly way, that, you know, you should have all the confidence in the world playing in front of your home crowd at St James's Park. But it's a very I've seen those words, and it was I think I saw that question when it come up on Twitter as well. And I've thought about, you know, and I can't give a really straightforward answer to it. But like I say, it's to suspect we're probably only seeing 50% of the conversation.
Yeah. Okay. George just disappeared, so he's obviously sorting the plumber out. Paying him, maybe. I saw you laugh, Stu. I saw you laugh. That's why I added paying you. Tom, this is interesting. He goes, everyone, concerned, worried. Why? It is what it is. Enjoy the occasion. When you're Newcastle United and we fear no one. Tom, I agree 100%. It's the message I've been trying to put across on this podcast for the last week. But unfortunately, I think, Stu, that some people just find it impossible to enjoy. They've got to complain. And on the Northeast Breckie show this morning, I was going on about the criticism of Dan Burn. You know, like people just have to have a scapegoat. They have to have somebody that they're having a pop at. It was Nick Pope a few weeks ago. Oh, he can't catch cold. Bring Dubravka in. Carrier should be playing. Pope's useless. Can't do this. You know, he's the only Pope that can't deal with a cross. You know, all of this kind of stuff. It was Longstaff before that. Longstaff's garbage. Shouldn't be anywhere near the team. He's slow. He does 10 kilometres every game. He's the glue that holds the midfield together. Bruno's playing better since Sean Longstaff got in the team. Gordon, we sign him. What a waste of money. Shouldn't have bought him. Absolute garbage. Now he's the player of the season so far. I could go on. Almiron, if the door's open at the end of the ground, he'd run through it. He's useless. There's no end product. He then finishes as one of our top scorers last season. Just enjoy it, man. Stop picking apart some of these players, because at the moment that, you know, they're pulling up tree stumps for the club. And yeah, I think Tom's got a point. That's what I'm trying to say, Stu.
Well, no, you said it very well, and I think Tom's bang on as well. Some people aren't happy unless they're unhappy. And unfortunately or sadly, that's a reflection on society. They don't like to see people doing well, and they're more focused on what other people are doing than actually trying to make their own lives better. And, you know, it's a scapegoat's a bad thing. We're all entitled to opinions about players. And I think we've all been guilty of it. That player could have done better, but I don't think anyone goes onto the pitch and says, oh, I'm not going to have a good game today. You know, for whatever reason, we've all played football at different or various levels. You know, so you will try your best, and sometimes you get games that doesn't come off. But these are elite footballers. They are at the top of the game. And, you know, I know we've mentioned this before. In the 40 plus years I've been watching Newcastle United, last season was comfortably in the top 5. You know, what have we really got to moan about? And we know that the top 5 over the next 10 years is to come, if that makes sense of what I'm saying. You know, the good times are now, the better times are ahead. And if you can't enjoy that, then go and support Sunderland, where you've got something to moan about every week. You've got something that's, you can be in the shadow of your illustrious neighbour. They're playing a championship game tomorrow. We're playing Champions League. We have class international players. We have players now being linked with the very best teams on the planet. And long may that continue. Let them want to buy Bruno. Let them want to buy Isaac. Let them want to buy Botman. It shows that we have the highest quality players. Otherwise, they wouldn't be interested. You don't see like Barcelona trying to sign Burnley's right back or anything like that. Our players will get linked with them. And if people want to moan and say that player is not good enough, let them get on. Sometimes it's best just to ignore them, in all honesty. You know, we are really, really on the crest of a wave, and this wave is just going to keep growing and growing and growing, and we should just be enjoying the ride. And Tom's bang on about the occasion. Everyone should go and enjoy the occasion. And as I just touched on before, let the players play the game and not the occasion, and I think we'll have a positive result from it.
Yeah. Some people just like to twist on 21, Kev, I guess.
Exactly, and when I was in the stadium years ago with my dad, my dad was one of the worst ones. He'd always complain about Shull. Everybody's got an opinion about somebody. There's always going to be, yes, we'll all have bad days when, like Stu said, different levels of play, whatever, kicking the ball around on Sunday morning. There's always somebody on the sideline going to have a bit of a complaint, and oh well, you didn't do very well today, whatever. That's always going to happen. You can't please everyone, but at the same time, we are where we are through hard work and through desire and everything like that. And that's where we come from. That's what we should expect every week. Yes. But I think we have to galvanize as a fan group, pull together as a fan group versus, belittle. And yeah, Burn didn't have a very good 10 minutes on Saturday, but Sharp turned that round and he played pretty well. Pope's turned his season around, like Stevie reeled them all off. There's always, like, it's unfortunate that they're going to have a scapegoat, but that's just the nature of football. But again, there's this mindset what's set in over the past period of time that it takes a lot of people to get out of. And we all were there at some point. But now from the last 18 months, it's some of the best football I've ever seen Newcastle United play. And, so what is there to complain about? We're winning games. We're working hard. We're trying. It's not exactly we're sitting there and just hopefully get a 1-1 or a scruffy 1-0 somewhere and trying to survive. We're trying to actually go somewhere. And I'm one of those who jump on the bandwagon and let's go to the highest possible place we can. And I think everybody who supports Newcastle United has to do the same thing. Pretty much, what Tom said and on the bottom there was pretty much a rally cry to every Newcastle United fan. Just, enjoy it. I say to a lot of players, strap yourselves in and enjoy the ride because you're going to play some good football. Enjoy the ride. We can't be too down. We can't be too high. We can't be too low. It's called the inverted U theory in terms of performance. And you have to have that as a fan. We've got to be level-headed. We've got to be balanced. We've got to expect potential loss. We've got to go and slap a team 5 or 8, whatever. But we've just got to be level-headed, balanced across every performance. What you see, yes, have your opinion, but then move on. There's always the next game around the corner that we can get behind and enjoy.
Al-Walid, what's your thoughts? A lot of people just seem to like complaining, but really, the message I've tried to say this week is just enjoy it. Enjoy being in the Champions League and enjoy the home games.
I'm not really sure, what they're complaining for. If they're saying that we go to qualify for Champions League early, this is not correct because you never can guarantee playing in the Champions League. I like when Eddie Howe says once in conference Rome, he said something about next game is the important game. I know this is not just diplomatic. I think this is the real thing. So nobody know where we're gonna reach. Hopefully, I believe Carabao Cup we could go to final same last year, and hopefully we will win it this time, and we could qualify on the hardest group. And if not, no problem. We come back again later with better players. So it's really exciting times, and I'm not worried because we are getting better. This is the most important thing for Newcastle.
Yeah. Mitch?
Opinions really are like arseholes, aren't they? And you don't really need to hear from everyone. But let everybody ask themselves this. What are PSG bringing tomorrow night that any other team that came to St James's Park brought last season? Different. We feared no one at St James's Park last season. We went toe-to-toe with everyone at St James's Park last season. We're a year more experienced. We've got a better depth of squad. And they're coming at our place. And they're the arseholes that should be twitching, not ours. Luis Enrique said tonight He's vocalised what everybody was thinking, but nobody dared say, apparently. We were the team in pot 4 no one wanted. Tomorrow's an opportunity to show exactly why. And I can't wait.
George, all
Yeah.
of these negative Nellies. I mean, we should look. Alan's. I think Alan's
Well,
in the chat tonight. He's getting a bit of stick off people.
Well, I was going to say when Stu said about people saying think about West Ham and not the game tomorrow night, that was all Alan really. He started that off, and then when his prediction at the end, he said we were going to get beat 4-1, 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah, and I nearly sicked me egg and chips on my keyboard. Dear me, it's such a shock. I'm not saying you haven't got to be realistic. You have, but realistic for us is play our game and have a go. And if we do that, we'll get something out of it. That's what I'm looking for. There's so many positives in this, not least the impact of the crowd of St James's and it's the enclosed atmosphere and the crowd and war flags and all that's going to be playing a big part of tomorrow night. And enjoys the word people have been using, and I think you're absolutely right, Steve. Just go out and enjoy it. The players, fans go and enjoy it as well, and make it a memory. You know, I go on for all the matches to make your match day an occasion, not just a football match. Make it an occasion. Well, if there's never a night to be an occasion, surely it's tomorrow night. So go and try your socks, do everything, and cheer the lads home. Because I think we'll surprise them. They won't enjoy what's coming tomorrow night entirely. And as I said earlier when we were talking about it, I reckon the last 20 minutes or so they're going to be blown out their ear holes, and that's a chance when we'll get a chance to get them. And I'm sure that's what the lads will do. And if Sean Longstaff's running his legs off like he has been in the other man, and Bruno gets into his rhythm like he did against Burnley, he controlled them. Doesn't matter who you're playing against. When you've got players like that in the team, they're going to do damage. And I'm looking forward to them doing damage against PSG tomorrow night.
Yeah, me too. Alan did ask a question in the chat as well. The answer is Pope. He says Pope's got 63 clean sheets in 185 games. Pickford 61 and 255. Who's the better keeper? Definitely Pope, mate. So there you go. I hope that's kept you happy tonight. Okay, I do want to push the Curry week at Raval as well. I've been pushing it all week, but don't forget you've got a chance still to book ravaluk.com. Order a curry. Tomorrow you get 20% off if you mention NUFC Matters 2023. Got a chance as well to win a signed Alan Shearer ball. You get a free raffle ticket if you go tomorrow, and it's opening up at 3:00. Super Mac and Gibbo are going to be there from 4. They're going to be doing a talk from 4 to 5. That is free of charge. So you've just got to buy your curry, and everyone who buys a tikka masala, well, they will be donating the equivalent of the tikka masala cost to Feeding Families, which is a charity in Gateshead, which does what it says on the tin. It feeds families. And just to finish up on the curry week, Tim said, topical with your curry night, what is the panel's personal choice of curry? I'm guessing Stew is a Vindaloo type. Stew?
Well, this is probably the hardest question I've ever been asked on this show. And not for the reasons you think. I'm not a big fan of Indians. If I do, you see that my diet is more like that of what you prepare for an 8-year-old's birthday party, where your pizzas, your hot dogs, your sausage rolls, your burgers, etc. But definitely the pizzas. I'm not one for these. I just think if you've got to flavour food that much, there's something wrong with the meat. But if I take it to an Indian restaurant, and whether it's for work or in company, and I'm obliged to order something. When I lived in Tenerife, there was an Indian restaurant there called Rani's, and they got to know me quite well, obviously, because when they give us a menu, I give them it back, and I said, this is what I want, can you do it? And it would be tandoori prawns with no vegetables, just on the sizzling plate, just the tandoori prawns, and then chicken tikka starters with just the chicken tikka. Sometimes they put cheese on it for us. Then the great red cabbage for us, which I'd put vinegar on, and I'd have a keema naan bread with no onions. So that's the only thing I'd eat in Indian. So that's why it was a difficult question.
Wow, that was an in-depth answer, though. That was why curry was invented, Stu, says Andy. And Tom Dixon says his favourite is a hot and spicy vindaloo, loads of chilies and jalapenos in. Dear me, I wouldn't be following you to the toilet, Tom. Chicken madras, mushroom pilau for me with a Peshwari naan. That's mine. Kev?
Well, since I moved here, we don't get many over here, to be honest. They're quite rare, so not a big Indian fan like Stu, to be honest. So mine's more of a Thai curry, any Thai curry. We have a lot of them over here, so I'll go down that road. So whatever Thai curry it is, red, green, whatever's put in front of me in a Thai restaurant, I'll eat it. I'm a bit of a foodie in that respect. Right. So yeah.
Okay, Al-Walid?
And to be honest, I just thought curry is one kind.
Yeah.
Really, I'm not kidding.
Mitch?
Out here, what you struggle to find are British style curries. You get more Indian style curries out here, so it's quite a different mix of flavours. For me, usually something like a chicken achari with a mushroom bhaji side on the side, and just a plain naan.
Right, okay. And George?
Chicken tikka masala would be my choice straight away, and some tandoori prawns to start with. But that would suit me fine. Yeah, that would be great. No bother.
Great stuff. Excellent. Okay, well, I are Tim. You now know what to buy us when you take us out for a meal. Okay, before we get the lads' predictions, I have been speaking to a few of the ex-pros. Got a couple of videos sent in, and we're going to play them now, and I'll stick them on YouTube later on. But one from the first Brazilian to play football for Newcastle United and in England.
Hi, my dear. This is Mirandinha here from Brazil. I'd like to send this video for all the lads from Newcastle. I hope today Newcastle United have a very good game against PSG. I will be here in Brazil with my fingers crossed for our Newcastle United to have a very good result. I hope all the lads give 100% in the game, and we finish the game with a very good result. I miss you so much, Newcastle. I love the people there and the club as well. How are the lads?
Good lad, Mirror. Thank you very much. And one of the familiar faces on this channel. We don't get him on as much these days, but he always watches. It's Lee Clark.
Hello everyone, Lee Clark here. I hope you're well. My prediction for the Champions League fixture at St James's against Paris Saint-Germain. Obviously very exciting. First time to see them at St James's. World-class stars, Kylian Mbappe, etc. They've actually had their worst start under the Qatari owners. Worst start in 11 years in the league. So not coming into the game with good form. Our obviously first game back at St James's in the Champions League for many, many years. Great excitement building. Team playing with a lot of confidence at the moment. I know one or two injury issues, but I think with the atmosphere generated and the intensity of the lads and the drive, it's a positive result. You know, I think we can get that win. That will make the 0-0 draw we got in Milan even better result than it was. Because if you can draw away from home and win your home games, that makes it extra special. So a win for the Tyne, hard fought by the odd goal, maybe it's 1-0, 2-1. How are the lads?
And one more, another blast from the past, the former skipper, Peter Jackson.
Hi, Stupid Steve. I'm away in Croatia. I've just got your text. And yeah, so I'll summarise obviously the big match tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. Hopefully I can get a television where I can watch the match. But yeah, looking at the game, I think obviously Paris Saint-Germain usually the top of the league every year, aren't they? And I've looked at the tables, they're in 5th or 6th now, so it's a great opportunity for Newcastle to play them. I think they're in a bit of a turmoil as a club, so I think, as I say, with Eddie Howe and the form that they've picked up, not had the best start, but the form that they're showing them at the moment, I think they'll be strong enough to beat Paris Saint-Germain. So I'm predicting, Super Steve and all you Super Geordie people, that Newcastle will win 2-0 from Jacko. Love you all. Cheers, lads.
Great to have a few ex-players on. Thanks for sending the messages, lads. And yeah, George, I'm going to come to you. You gave your prediction earlier, so just remind us what your prediction was.
2-0. 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
Okay, Mitch.
McClarkey, your goal in 3 or 1-0.
Al-Walid.
1-0 Newcastle.
1-0 Newcastle. Okay, Kev.
2-1.
2-1. And Stu.
Before we prediction, I just want to say this game tomorrow is for everyone who's watched Riviere.
And Jeff Hendrick.
Yeah.
And Alan Boom song as well.
Tomorrow it's a reward, it's a thank you, and it's a this is the fans, so please just go and embrace it, savor it and enjoy it, and watch us win 1-0. And I'd love it if Lascelles got the winner from a corner, and that'll show up all the negative Nellies you talked about earlier, Steve. If Lascelles scores the winner, he'll go down in folklore for us.
Yeah. Great stuff. Great show. Thanks to George, Mitch, Al-Walid, Kevin, and Stu. Steve, go on, George.
Before you wind up, lots of nice things have happened to me on these channels that I help you with. And there was another one yesterday when somebody saw the difficulty I had about getting a taxi and offered to help. I'm not going to mention names or numbers, but I do appreciate that. That really is kind, and I can't thank you enough. It really was very nice indeed.
Yeah, great stuff. Thanks. NUFC matters. It really does. And the community is very special. Thanks to the mods. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Tomorrow, it is a pre-record with Ben Jacobs. I'm out and about tomorrow, so won't have time to do a live. I'm also going to be pre-recording the Supermac and Gibbo show for Thursday. But Friday, the Three Amigos is back live at 5 o'clock. But enjoy the shows tomorrow. I'll put the Ben Jacobs on one slightly early. I'll be around about 5 o'clock, so you'll be able to watch it before you go to the game. But for now, take care. Good night.
Good night, everyone.